Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
For more than 2 centuries, his brilliant musical compositions have been a source of inspiration for countless people around the world. Celebrating the 250th birthday of Ludwig van Beethoven, Part 1 of 3. Continue watching to find out more.
Wie geht es Ihnen means how are you in German. Vibrant viewers, I'm Julia. The big-hearted people of the Federal Republic of Germany pray that blessings of the Providence will shower upon the peace-loving people of all lands. Welcome to our show, celebrating the 250th birthday of Ludwig van Beethoven, Part 1 of 3. December 16, 2020 marks the 250th birthday of Ludwig van Beethoven, one of the greatest music composers in the history of our world. Across the globe, concerts and events are being planned to commemorate the birth of this musical genius. Beethoven continued the classical legacies of Joseph Haydn and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and evolved music into a new era of Romanticism, characterized by dramatic melodies that evoked powerful emotions. He expanded musical composition from a formal aesthetic style to allow freer individual expression of feelings and ideas. Some of his musical innovations waited for almost a century before finding composers who could truly comprehend and apply them to their own compositions. Triumphing over physical suffering and countless hardships in life, Beethoven imbues his music with joy and expressive freedom, as if to celebrate the resolve and immense strength of the human spirit. Ludwig van Beethoven was baptized on December 17, 1770 in Bonn, Archbishopric of Cologne, Germany. There is no document record for his date of birth, but according to local customs at the time, an infant was baptized within 24 hours of birth. Thus, Beethoven's birth date is widely agreed upon, including by the composer himself, to be December 16, 1770. Beethoven was the oldest surviving child of Johann and Maria Magdalena van Beethoven. Johann was a singer in the electoral choir of Prince Archbishop Elector of Cologne, Clemens August of Bavaria, and Ludwig's grandfather, also named Ludwig van Beethoven, was a Kapellmeister and a successful musician in Bonn. With a steady source of income, the family lived prosperously during the first few years of Beethoven's life. However, after the death of his grandfather in 1773, the family began to struggle financially. His father's addiction to alcohol further worsened their financial situation, and Beethoven was forced to drop out of school at 11 to be placed in the local theater orchestra. When he turned 13, Beethoven became an organist in the court of Archduke Maximilian Francis of Austria. By age 18, he became the family's breadwinner by teaching and playing viola in the court orchestra, in addition to receiving half of his father's pension. Beethoven's rare musical talent was revealed at a young age. Attempting to create another child prodigy like Mozart to exploit for profit, his father Johann began a harsh tutoring regimen for Beethoven when the boy was just 4 years old, often shutting him in a room alone for hours to practice various musical instruments. After returning from music practice or the tavern, Johann would sometimes drag young Ludwig from his bed to sit and practice late at night. Mistakes often resulted in severe punishments. Beethoven first performed publicly on March 26, 1778, when he was 7 years old. His first published work, a set of keyboard variations, was released in March 1783 in Bonn, while he was under the tutelage of his most important teacher, Christian Gottlob Neefe. With his intelligent artistic views and high moral standards, Neefe had a profound influence on the adolescent Beethoven that extended beyond composition and keyboard lessons. This musical master, a member of an esoteric religious order, was also Beethoven's trustworthy guide and advocate, who may have inspired his pupils' earnest interest in Enlightenment philosophy later in life. Appreciating Beethoven's musical talent, Prince Maximilian Francis sent Beethoven to Vienna to study with Mozart in early 1787. Just a few weeks after his arrival in Vienna, Beethoven learned of his mother's failing health and rushed back to Bonn. On July 17, he lost his mother, whom he adored. He remained in Bonn for 5 years afterwards, and when he returned to Vienna in 1792, Mozart had already passed away. Beethoven met his most important mentor, Joseph Haydn, in December 1790, when Haydn passed through Bonn on a trip to London. Haydn saw the potential greatness of the young composer after studying his work and offered to be his tutor should Beethoven move to Vienna. In 1792, with a grant from the Prince Elector that would last for 2 years, Beethoven traveled to Vienna again to study with Haydn. Due to personality differences and misunderstandings, Haydn and Beethoven had a less than ideal relationship. Haydn was also extremely busy with his own composition work and touring. Hence, Beethoven's apprenticeship with the old master was short-lived and of little benefit. However, Haydn maintained a good relation with his pupil, and Beethoven continued to revere Haydn, dedicating his set of 3 piano sonatas, Opus 2 to the maestro. On March 29, 1795, Beethoven gave his first public performance in Vienna, premiering his Piano Concerto No. 1. Then, in 1796, Beethoven traveled with Prince Lichnowsky to Prague for a concert, followed by performances in Dresden, Leipzig, and Berlin. During this period, Beethoven also began publishing his compositions and assigning opus numbers to his work. Beethoven's compositional style is generally divided into 3 periods. Although no clear lines exist between the periods, critics widely agree on the approximate division. The first period ends about a decade after his second arrival in Vienna, around 1802 or 1803. The second period continues to around 1815, and the final period lasts from 1815 to 1827, when the great composer departed this world. During his first period, Beethoven was still building his compositional style on the foundation of classical composers, such as Mozart and Haydn. However, at the same time, he started to explore new directions and try to expand his horizons. His works from this time show the influence of Haydn, Mozart, and the historically underrated Italian-born English composer and pianist Muzio Clementi. Toward the end of this period, Beethoven began to develop a more individual style. Beethoven grew to be a fully accomplished composer after establishing himself as the finest piano virtuoso in Vienna. During this period, an extraordinary surge of creativity produced a large body of works, including his first and second symphonies, his first 3 piano concertos, and his first 20 piano sonatas, including the famous Pathetique and Moonlight, as well as 9 of his 10 violin sonatas with piano, the most popular being Spring and Kreutzer, plus many other piano pieces, chamber music works, and songs. Beethoven's Piano Sonata No. 8 in C minor, Opus 13, known as the Sonata Pathétique and originally called Grande Sonate Pathétique by the publisher, is one of his most celebrated works from his first or classical period. Yet, due to its expressive nature and dramatic mood, it was extremely progressive for its time. The sonata premiered in 1799 in Vienna and was dedicated to his patron Prince Lichnowsky, a chamberlain at the imperial Austrian court. The first movement's dark, tragic tone is followed by one of Beethoven's most touching and heart-rending second movements, and then finishes with a rondo, filled with fortitude and ferocity. The Sonata No. 14 in C-sharp minor for piano, Opus 27-2, was written in 1801 and originally marked Quasi una fantasia, translated as Sonata in the manner of a fantasy. In 1832, the German music critic Ludwig Grellstab remarked that the first movement of the sonata caused him to imagine moonlight shining upon Lake Lucerne. Thus, the nickname Moonlight Sonata has been commonly used ever since. The work was dedicated to his pupil Countess Giulietta Guicciardi, with whom he had fallen in love. The sonata quickly became popular and remains one of his most beloved piano pieces. Beethoven once commented to his student Carl Czerny, "They are always talking about the C-sharp minor sonata. Surely I have written better things." Instead of using the traditional sonata form featuring fast, slow, fast movements, Beethoven boldly wrote in a slow, slow, fast pattern, with a strong movement marked presto agitato, or very fast with excitement, to end this emotionally charged piece. We'll now conclude this episode with some joyful notes from Beethoven's Violin Sonata No. 5 in F major, Opus 24, commonly known as the Spring Sonata, which was completed in 1801 and dedicated to the Austrian nobleman, banker and patron of the arts, Count Moritz von Fries. The opening of the first movement explodes with the exhilaration of spring flowers blossoming in a swarm of color. The gentle lyricism of the second movement evokes tenderness, contentment, and tranquility. Beethoven added a short playful scherzo to the work, which is his first violin sonata to have 4 movements instead of the traditional 3. The concluding rondo harmoniously supplements the previous movements with a dynamic and gracious melody. The Spring Sonata is one of Beethoven's happiest creations during the springtime of his life, a sublime taste of beauty, innocence, and clarity. Artistic viewers, we hope you have enjoyed our program today, celebrating the 250th birthday of Ludwig van Beethoven, part 1 of 3. Please return next Friday, December 11 for part 2. Up next is Wildlife Conservation Day, a call for action right after noteworthy news. May celestial music grace all of your days.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/AJAR.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/AJAR.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/AJAR.
I nostri programmi sono offerti in molte lingue. Consultate suprememastertv.com/schedule e suprememastertv.com/AJAR